March is Brain Injury Awareness Month, and while most people associate helmets with playing football or riding a motorcycle, many don't wear helmets while riding horses.
Black Hills Fox reporter Eliana Sheriff knows firsthand the dangers of riding without a helmet and why it's so important. Eliana?
I've been riding horses for 15 years, and it's become an unbridled passion. I also have usually worn a helmet over the years, assuming it was a good idea, though believing an accident would never happen to me. But a couple weeks ago, while trying my hand at some trick riding, never became now, and usually quickly became always. Just a warning, some of the video in this story is graphic.
Good job, Eliana!
I had to have 9 staples put into my scalp, and I lost a lot of blood. Luckily, I never lost consciousness, but this accident could have been worse. Doctor of Sports Medicine Joshua Soul explains why wearing a helmet may just save your life.
Helmets are designed to dispel or to disperse the force of the impact that would normally be taken up by your skull, because the helmet's designed to break and not your head.
According to the American Association of Neurological Surgeons, head injuries account for 60% of deaths resulting from horseback riding. And while helmets won't necessarily prevent a concussion, helmets can reduce head and brain injuries by 85%, including damage to your skull, lacerations or abrasions which can become infected, or catastrophic injuries such as a brain bleed or permanent brain damage.
I think when you're dealing with something that has a mind of its own, I think it's even more reasonable to protect the most important thing that you have, which is between your ears.
Dr. Soul says the brain develops and matures until you are 25 years old, so it's especially important to protect kids' heads while they are still developing.
If they start wearing a helmet at a young age, they're going to be more comfortable wearing it throughout their whole life. It becomes routine, just like brushing your teeth, tying your shoelaces.
While many riders don't opt to wear helmets, he says it's up to parents to set an example.
So just because everybody is doing that and it's not a social norm doesn't mean it can't be.
Nicole Eichley is a well-known barrel racer from Washington. She has a long list of accomplishments, including running the record time in the Women's Professional Rodeo Association in 2010. In 2014, she started a social media movement called #HelmetTough to help break the stigma about wearing helmets.
When we sent out a survey asking, why don't you wear a helmet, or do you want to? If you do, why don't you? Over 50% of the people who responded said that they want to wear a helmet, but that they don't because they're afraid of the stigma.
On February 20th, a well-known rider in the barrel racing community, Lara DeWeese, was injured badly at a rodeo after she lost hold of her reins and her horse ran out of the alleyway at full speed. Lara was not wearing a helmet. She fell off and hit her head on the asphalt. She passed away on February 28th, leaving behind a young son and a fiancé. While we can't know for sure if a helmet would have saved her life, doctors confirmed she went into surgery for a blood clot in her brain. The incident has raised awareness about helmets in the racing community.
It makes people really think about, what if this happened to me? What would this do to my family, my friends? And that kind of starts putting them in a position where they think, why don't I wear a helmet?
I think you're a lot tougher if you wear a helmet because you're being humble enough to not only protect yourself and from injury, but there's at least in my line of work, there's a lot of people that rely on me to be their dad or their husband or their doctor. And so if I'm out snowboarding or skiing, which is something I like to do, and I don't wear a helmet, and I for some reason hurt my head, then there's a lot of people who are going to be without me in their life.
While my situation took place at a trick riding clinic, helmets are starting to gain a foothold in the barrel racing community. In fact, professional barrel racer Fallon Taylor turned heads by wearing a helmet during several rounds of the NFR in Las Vegas in 2014.